Okay, the regular meeting of the Planning Board, June 24th, 2019, is about to begin. Call to order, please. Roll call.
Chairman Varelli?
Here.
Vice Chairman Good is recused. Mr. Ochera is recused. Mr. Brody?
Here.
Mr. Benedetto?
Here.
Mr. Trivia?
Here. Here.
Ms. Close?
Here.
Mr. Ciano?
Here.
Mr. Levy is recused. Mr. Weinstein?
Here.
A salute to the flag, please.
Allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
You okay? I'm all right. Shit, I'm sorry. No problem. Okay. Won't be as painful as this.
Okay, the notice requirements of the open public meeting law for this meeting have been satisfied. A copy of the notice having been sent to the Asbury Park Press and the Coaster and filed in the office of the Township Clerk on July 25th, 2018. There are emergency exits through the courtroom doors and 2 exits at the rear of the room. We also have a no smoking policy. No new cases will be started after 10:30 p.m. and no new testimony taken after 11 p.m. In addition, the applicant will be limited to 1 hour of testimony. All meetings will be video and audio taped and shown on the Township of Ocean's community cable channel, Channel 22 on Verizon Fios, and Channel 77 on Cablevision. All cell phones must be turned off. If you need to make a call, please step outside the meeting room to do so. First of all, we have minutes for approval from May 20th, 2019, the regular meeting. Can I have a motion from somebody?
I'll move to accept.
I'll second.
Go ahead. You can read your name easily.
Roll call.
Chairman Varelli?
Here? Yes? Sorry?
Mr. Brody?
Yes.
Mr. Benedetto?
Yes.
Mr. DeFilia?
Yes. It's all right. It doesn't bother me.
Oh, yes.
Ms. Close?
Yes.
Mr. Ciano?
Yes.
Mr. Weinstein?
Yes.
Okay, we have a carried case, Mamano, Block 33.14, Lot 2, 710 West Park Avenue, Ocean, New Jersey. That case is carried till July 22nd, 2019. Case number 2 on the list, which is a new case, Scott Delaney, Block 35, Lots 5, 1206 Park Avenue, West Park Avenue, Ocean, New Jersey, Zone R1. That case is also carried till July 22nd. Finally, we have the case number 3, which is on the list for tonight, Deal 35 Land, LLC, Block 33, Lot 19.01, 1603 State Highway 35, Ocean, New Jersey, Zone C7. Ms. Kremko.
Good evening, Mr. Verrilli, members of the
Good
board.
evening.
Good evening, Ms. Grimcrow.
As you may remember, at the last meeting, we had indicated that we were going to go out of order. The board instructed they would go out of order, and the applicant consented to allow the neighbor's traffic expert to testify immediately after our traffic expert, as opposed to at the end of the hearing. Originally, we thought that was going to happen on the 17th, but they'd indicated their expert was unavailable and was therefore asked for it to be the 24th. So being that I submitted revised plans, fully engineered plans, a stormwater management report on June 18th, which obviously is not 10 days in advance, I can't move them into evidence or have a witness testify to them. So I do not have the intention to call any witnesses here tonight. We're here to listen to the traffic expert of the neighbors.
Okay, that's understandable. I think Ms. Wentz, is that her name?
Yeah, do we have the traffic engineer for some of the members in the audience to start? Is anybody here involved with the retention of that traffic engineer that has the ability to give an update? Nobody in the audience is indicating that anybody can provide any insight into that. So, and I see some of the folks who in the past who have indicated that they were retaining that traffic engineer are not here. Do you have any information on this, Ms. Krimko?
From what I last heard from Jackie, that he was coming today.
Okay, so.
But I was also told by Ms. Hanut that it was not Jackie who retained him. It was he's an attorney. He spoke in the beginning of the hearings.
Or just for the record, you mentioned Jackie, and that would be Jackie Wentz, is that
Yes.
correct? And I don't see that Jackie is here. So it is about 7:39. Certainly, it would behoove whoever was planning to introduce that expert to have the expert here in advance. And so, Mr. Chairman, I suggest that you have to come to the conclusion that that expert at least will not be here tonight. So I'd suggest, with that in mind, what's your position, Ms. Krimko?
Well, my position is obviously the neighbors are entitled to bring any experts that they so desire, but I would ask that we go back to the board's practice that you've been keeping for the last 20-plus years, and that is that the objectors or the neighbors or anyone in support wait till the end of our case before they have the opportunity to then put on their own case.
I
So,
suggest that's a reasonable approach and one of necessity here. So, Mr. Chairman, you can.
No, I agree, and I indicated to Ms. Wentz that that's what we would do if indeed she was not able to provide the expert
now,
tonight.
Mr. Verrilli, one question. I know that we had spoken in the past about having one special meeting a month, if
Correct.
possible, if a date. So rather than renotice, if a date is available, I was wondering whether or not we could announce that here tonight so we don't have to renotice.
We certainly can. There is a special meeting scheduled for July 15th of this year. Is that correct, Mr. Kirk? Yes.
And also, is it my understanding, Mr. Kirk, that there will be no meetings of the board in August?
Correct.
All right, just for the special benefit of the members of the public here, the planning board is not planning to have any meetings in August.
So it's July 15th, no further notice, and I know Mr. Kirk had indicated that it may or may not be in the high school, so I think we should announce it.
I believe we should have it here. It's,
Yeah, historically, we haven't had a problem.
Okay.
Unless there's something unforeseen. Certainly, again, for the record tonight, someone can second guess me on this, but it seems like maybe a third or so of the audience is full, so to have
Okay.
that many more people, it just
So it'll be carried to the special meeting of July 15th, 2019, without any further notice by the applicant. Obviously, the board would publish the special notice per the statutory requirements.
that's the requirement.
And that special meeting will occur in this building, right in this venue here.
Mr. Chairman, since we won't have any witnesses tonight, and we're going to go back on the regular schedule next time, that will be up to the applicant to decide who she is going to present.
You want to just do it while we're here? Yeah.
Since you mentioned the fact that you had engineering plans, but they're not 10 days in advance, we're not going to hear that.
No, we can't, but my traffic engineer reminded me, we did not close the questioning to him, so perhaps he's here. There's public here. If there's any additional questions by the public, we can have them asked and be done with it.
If you could refresh the board's recollection on the questioning.
Right, because I had thought that was closed, but
Oh, it was? Okay, then we're closed.
Yeah.
I thought that was
Okay.
closed.
No, my recollection
think
from
I-
several, at least 2 meetings ago, is that you concluded,
Correct, and I
made
didn't,
it clear on the record that you did not want to be forced to bring your traffic
I-
expert back, and yet you
Right.
wanted to leave open the opportunity to bring him back. So-
correct.
Excuse me.
Yeah, my recollection is it's closed also, but if
Yeah.
there's any new traffic information, it certainly should be open.
Correct.
Yes,
Absolutely.
that's absolutely, but we don't have any.
I-
Well,
I think I asked for it to remain open, but we decided to not leave it
Okay,
open
then
and
I just
close
wanted to
it.
make sure,
So
right, we'd indicated
I
that
believe it is closed.
we would have him here, and if I put him back on, he could be questioned as to that new testimony.
That is
Certainly.
correct.
Okay, just wanted to make sure.
You brought him here just in case she had.
Yes, we have
Right.
my engineer here with the screen in case their engineer needed reference to an exhibit, and we have our traffic engineer
Great.
here
That's good.
in the
So-
event she brought one.
So, Mr. Chairman, in light of the fact that there are no witnesses to be presented by,
Somebody had a comment.
mention something, one spoke, and in my email,
okay.
I was notified.
Yeah, hold on a second.
Hold on a second,
Whoa,
please.
whoa,
Hold
whoa,
on,
whoa,
hold on,
whoa,
hold on.
Wait, wait,
Whoa,
wait.
whoa.
So, first of all, it's a little out of procedure, but if the board is comfortable, we can have you come up and see what you have to say. Be sworn in. Where's the microphone's right here. So, have you been here before to testify?
Yes.
You've been sworn before, so.
No, I haven't.
Oh, well, if you come up here, please, and since we don't know what you're going to say, we'll ask you to be sworn in. I
She
assume
has
you
to
have no
press
problem
the
with
red,
that.
she has to press the red button there
Oh,
on the bottom.
It's very complicated. Do you know how to?
Red button right
The rest
All
button,
right.
red
But
comes.
But you need to.
There we go.
But you need to raise your right hand,
Press it.
though. Do you promise to tell the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth, so help you God?
I do.
And would you state your full name for the record?
Melissa Stryker, Appleby Drive, Watermassa.
Gotta press the
Okay.
button.
You have to press the button.
We've all been on, okay. We've all been on, line today and talked about all being at this meeting. We had a meeting to organize that, but it was said that there was going to be 2 cases before it got to us. And now those been or put off. So I think that they thought it would get to us about 8 o'clock.
Well, ma'am.
So,
the
I mean-
problem with- I understand what you're saying, but the problem with that is that any applicant knows that you can't rely on lists because lists shift all the time. So, again, it would behoove somebody to be here to say, that let's say the expert's going to be here in 2 minutes. I mean, that's said by
Well-
applicants sometimes.
May I go excuse myself and call her and see if she's on her way with the
It's up to you.
traffic person? I mean, that was what the plan was.
Well, may I ask who she is? Because Ms. Hanut had indicated that a gentleman was the only individual who retained the traffic expert. So is that not true anymore?
There was a group
Uh,
of us.
Are you, did you retain a particular traffic expert?
We spoke
Wait.
with him. I did not
Please.
personally do it. I was with.
Ma'am, please.
I was with a group.
Thank you.
Okay. We met. There's several other people here that were at that meeting. The Sharps, Mr. Weiner, and we spoke to the person on the phone, setting it up, and
Did
You know.
Did you hear that whoever this expert was in fact going to be here tonight?
yes. May I just ask the other people who were at that meeting, Mr. Sharp, what do you know?
Who is the
Right.
traffic expert who's planning on attending tonight?
He knows more than I do, names and things, even though we were at the same meeting.
All right, Mr. Sharp has been sworn in before, and so he'll take over, and he knows to press the button. Yeah.
Yeah,
Yes,
President
please.
Holt.
Yes, sir.
Scott Sharp, Watamassa. To the best of my knowledge, Ms. Wenzel, it won't be here this evening. And there was the traffic expert that was being considered to be engaged was by one person, Mr. Cassidy.
That was it.
And that was a long time ago.
Harold Cassidy.
Yes, and there's been a number of discussions, whatever, but there is no contract with a traffic expert by anybody on the team. So a variety of people listened, but that's hardly making them accountable that they've made an agreement. And at this time, I believe I did tell Mr. Kirk what day was I in there with?
They all kind of blend together.
We were in your at town hall here, enjoying the reading of the various documents that were submitted, and I mentioned to him that there would be no traffic expert, but that's to the best of my knowledge at that time, and so that's the best of my information that I have available now.
Mr. Chairman, I would suggest that certainly Mr. Sharp's information is sharper than the broader information by the young lady who spoke first. So, and absent any other information, I think you have to make a decision on whether or not to adjourn or.
I believe that my information is probably more current than
Yes.
Mrs. Stryker's, so, and that's to the best of my knowledge.
Have you spoken to Ms. Wenzel recently?
I spoke to her this morning.
Okay, well, that's,
Is that
that's
recently
very
enough for you?
recent. Yes, that's very recent.
So you would
Okay.
have had more information.
He's a draw a picture of a snake.
All right, very good. Thank you.
Okay, thank you, Mr. Sharp. At this juncture, I'm going to maintain my previous position that the objector or whoever hires this particular traffic expert is more than welcome to bring them in to testify after Ms. Krimko is done with the applicant's position.
Mr. Chairman, make a motion to adjourn?
Well, first of all, let's let's close this particular application with the understanding, yeah.
One question. The special meeting, is that going to be at 7 or 7:30?
7 o'clock. like
Okay,
the
because it
rest.
wasn't said before, so I just wanted to make sure.
So for the general public's information, the special meeting on July 15th of this year will occur in this room at 7 p.m.
All right, motion to close this hearing.
You got a question in the back, Mr. Sharp.
Oh, Mr. Sharp, come on up.
Sorry.
Scott Sharp, Watamassa. I just would, if you're going to go with July 15th, I believe, as the special meeting, can you give us some sort of your best insight into what will take place on the 15th? What's on the your agenda or Ms. Krimko's agenda for that evening?
Well, we can start with Ms. Krimko in terms of whether or not she has any information she wants to provide. She's not required under the statute, by the way, but you can certainly ask her.
It didn't bother me. It's
No, at
it's
this-
the applicant's
At this
show.
point, at this point, the applicant is not certain which witnesses are being presented and/or in what order.
And in terms of the agenda in general, the agendas, as you've seen over time, they shift.
Well, no, but we're a special meeting, so we'd be the only thing on, correct,
Correct.
Mr. Kirk?
Correct.
That meeting, it would only be 35 and deal.
There you go.
I understand that, but so within 2 weeks, but we will have no information in advance of who actually will testify. I'm just trying to gauge my time for that evening so that I can be prepared. I don't like to be surprised.
She's going to rely on time.
No one does.
The only thing
Got something for you.
The only thing I'll add is that if an applicant, or for that matter, the objectors are providing documents that are going to be relied upon, as Ms. Krimko indicated, she supplied, but it wasn't 10 days advance. But so next meeting, presumably, she could present testimony. I don't know what it is, but by an
Correct.
engineer or someone else, and certainly the objectors have the ability to take a look at that. But we can't force an applicant to advise specifically, who's going to testify to what.
However, I will tell you that I will have some kind of a review at the meeting. Whether I can thoroughly review the entire set of plans by then or not, because my own issues, I'm not sure. But I will make a concerted effort to review in areas where concerns have been expressed specifically by members of the public.
Okay, and I guess, because we have a number, I'm just going to cut to the chase here, public comment. That's where I'm coming from, and I think you all understand where I'm coming from. Sure. And if we have a number of open documents, the stormwater plan has got to go back to Trenton, I believe. I don't know. Mm-hmm. You're the experts on that.
Pretty much, if you recall, Mr. Sharp, we've seen an evolution, if you will, of the layout for the site from the far side jug to the urban jug. So now the layout is pretty much changed from what you saw on the original set of engineered plans. So pretty much everything is going to be re-engineered. And that's what I'm trying to say. So I will try to focus on the important parts of what public comment was last time, and we'll see how this addresses it. So all those documents are on record, as I understand it. They're available for review by yourself or other members of the public. I'll try to do my 2 cents to address things that you people have all brought up during the course the best I can. But I mean, I'm going to guess, if I had to, if I was an applicant, I'd be presenting my new information and opening it to questions or comments, well, questions at this point from members of the audience.
Let me be specific. The flood hazard, I think there's an approval of that was given by DEP.
Right, that is only a delineation of the flood limits on the property. That has nothing to do with stormwater management. But yes, that line was already approved,
This
correct,
isn't-
by DEP.
Yeah,
They're the authority on that. We don't review that.
Yeah, I think that the applicant extended some courtesies here for the question answer that's been going on here, but this is highly irregular outside of the scope of the municipal land use law. At this point, there shouldn't be questions from the public to the board or to its professionals or to the applicant for that matter. The matter, there was no traffic expert, so we pick it back up at the next meeting. Now, Ms. Wenzel and her husband Peter and other members of the public have emailed me and made requests and comments outside the scope of the hearing, and I've readily responded that very same day.
So are you inviting
you may
Mr.
have made a
Sharp to make that
mistake.
kind of request? You're inviting Mr. Sharp to request
I
of you?
won't be sending, and I never have, sent Ms. Krimko an email asking for her input, and I've explained to the board attorney why, and so that won't happen.
Okay.
The responsibility lies with this board to make sure. Now, if Ms. Krimko doesn't want me to ask any questions in order that I be prepared for July 15th, then you make your decision of that the public is not allowed tonight
All right, Mr.
to ask
Chairman,
any
I'd like to make a
clarifications.
motion that we adjourn.
Yes.
I'm done.
I second.
Okay.
Just gotta keep on going.
Close the hearing.
To close the hearing.
So,
Roll call vote.
well, you got to ask who made the motion first.
Who did make the,
I did.
John Duthie?
thank you.
And who seconded it?
Mr. Ciano.
Mr. Ciano. And now you can call the roll.
Chairman Barrera,
Yes.
Longer than 20 minutes.
Mr. Brody,
Yes.
Ms. Benedetto,
Yes.
Yes.
Ms. Close,
Yes.
Mr. Ciano,
Yes. Allison did it. Number one here.
Yes.
Okay.
Number 0.
Would someone make a motion to adjourn the meeting?
I'll make a motion
during the meeting.
I'll second that.
who made the motion?
Mr. Weinstein?
Seconded by Duthie.
Sound like you're in a hurry.
I've explained it.
Okay. Chairman Barrera,
Yes.
Said, the only thing stuff in there is
Yes.
me right now, not signing off.
Yes.
So we're trying to
Yes.
tutor.
Mr. Duthie,
Yes.
Ms. Close,
Yes.
Mr. Ciano,
Yes.
Mr. Weinstein.
Yes.
Okay. Meeting's adjourned.
Thank you for
Thank you
coming
for
out.
coming.
Have a good night.